Were you at a pumpkin patch? Yeah. They actually rented out a pumpkin patch to start this they actually sponsored us for this week's episode.
A
It's
pumpkin patch.
it's called Scary McGee's Farm. Check them out. They're in the south part of Illinois.
Oh man, just outside Champaign.
Yeah, so if you bring a bottle of champagne, you get in for free. Otherwise, it's $30 per person. But they're sponsoring this, so it's all good.
Yeah, we get it for free. Use Gainz podcast 15 for 15% off your entry.
Um, and also they give us a percentage of that 15% too as well.
So thank you for the support sponsors.
Yes. And also, guys, you guys better reach out as this episode drops. The next day, Saturday, October 31st, go on Roman's page, give him a big shout out, give him a big happy birthday. If you don't follow him on Instagram, follow him on Instagram. Send him a message. I want you guys all to send him messages to, rattle his inbox just a little bit. It's getting really dry out there.
Let's head over to my YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Let's get
Oh
me to
yeah,
100
yeah.
so I can have youtube.com/Roman Long.
Yeah, also, yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, we need to get Roman to 100 subscribers so he doesn't have that crappy like mumbo jumbo as like his domain for the backslash. Um, wow, Roman is sleepy. We're at 10 in the morning, so I don't know how Roman's tired or not. He's been up for like 5 hours.
We could do an episode on sleep. We should do an episode on sleep. But that's not what we're covering today, folks. Today, we're bringing you frequency. That's what I was counting for the people that are listening. Sorry,
I thought
counting.
I thought you were gonna tell them what episode we're on through your fingers, but episode 53, guys.
53, yeah, there we go.
Yeah. And also, Roman, tell them what we just did this past weekend before this episode drops. What did we do?
We went on a monster hike. It was like, what, 10, 11-mile hike or something like that?
No, it was almost 12, and
It was almost 12, okay.
Roman and Laura actually did more, so they were probably over 12 or even 13. So, yeah. What did we do, like almost 6 hours?
Yeah, something like that. Starved Rock in Utica, Illinois. Very beautiful. It actually surprised the heck out of me. If you're not native to Illinois and you find yourself in Illinois anytime soon, head on over to Utica, Illinois. It's a cute little town, very cutesy actually, and they've got a really cool forest state park there called Starved Rock. We actually, Antoine and I, we were the first people to visit Starved Rock, feed it enough, and now it's just like not so hungry rock.
I'm not so hungry rock. And honestly, whatchamacallit, I feel like there's probably people out there. We're like probably one of the few that actually did the whole thing in like one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Dude, like the freaking canyons, they like shocked the heck out of me. Like, so there's signs when you go. Be careful. Like, take the signs seriously because they're like for real. They're legit. It'll say like caution around edges, like can be lethal if you fall, like those kind of things. You get to like the first canyon. I think you're like looking over the French Canyon at that point. I look down. I'm like, that's like 50, 60 feet down. I'm like, this is like a legit, like these are legit cliffs. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's one of those where a lot of people don't know about when it comes to like Illinois, which is it's like a oldie but a goodie. It's definitely more busier and more popular in the summertime. But honestly, like if you guys have time, like I'd say after this weekend, because I doubt anyone would go, but like next weekend before like all the leaves fall off, I'd say check it out. Like, dude, just the foliage was like what, green, red, purplish, yellow.
Yeah.
Like it just it couldn't get any better. It was like sunny all day, and then right when the sun went away, it was like freezing.
Yeah. No, it was much colder in the morning. It warmed up during the day. We were lucky. I think we got a gem of a day for a fall day.
Yeah, I also wasn't expecting that because we got a lot of rain when it comes to like, the day before and the day like 2 days before. So like I honestly thought like the route was going to be more scummier than it was, like, with like dirt and water. But I never always forget the trees, like, take out probably a majority of that water too, right? So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And then like a lot of the depending on like how moist it's been in the area for a while, um, the percolation rate could have been different based off of how wet it's been
did you say
or
time
dry.
for the percolator?
Per- percolate. There's like a
Time for
Black
the
Eyed Peas like
percolator.
song like that, isn't it? Fergie.
Fergalicious.
Oh, Fergalicious stuff, not Percolicious stuff. Oops.
You never heard of this? You never heard that song? It's time for the percolator.
I don't
It's
know,
time for the
maybe not.
percolator. I'm not gonna play it on the video because honestly, anytime I put music on any YouTube videos, they will copyright the shit out of me, and I'm
Uh,
tired of it. Literally,
I
I
know.
try to do that work from home or working out from home video. They copyright it right off the bat. So it's like I'm like, dude, why do I even try to put music? Like, man, like I'm just gonna leave my videos high and dry from now on and just like talk through it like, yes, that's me squatting down and getting the weights. Yes. And lifting.
That's how a lot of my videos were. I was just like narrating the whole time because I knew about like the whole, um, like the copyright thing. So it would either be that or I'd make up my own like little riffs on guitar.
Yeah, I was gonna
Um,
say at least you're talented enough to make your own riffs. Me, on the other hand, I'm like,
Absolutely
I
not.
like music, but I don't know how to create or even remotely produce it. So
Actually, I might have gotten. I'm trying to convince Luis to get into playing guitar. He's saying like he's like getting into it. Since we talked about like some musicians the other day. So I sent him some guitars. I was like, buy these. That'd be so funny if he ends up buying them too. Oh my god.
you should have
No
sent
man,
them
guitar is
links
dope.
for like a ukulele or something.
Ukulele's sweet too. That is actually something I'd like to learn how to play better. Cause like if you know how to play guitar, you can play any string instrument. But like I don't know how to play it well, so I'd like to learn like some songs like somewhere over the rainbow,
That's
something like
good,
that.
buddy. I like that. So
Yeah.
how does playing guitar and working out with frequency relate, Roman?
So the more you play guitar, the better you get at it. The more you do lifts, well, you don't always get better. So that's why we want to talk to you about this, folks.
Well, it's same with guitar
Oh.
too. It's same with guitar too. You can't if like I had a whole I think it was trimester
Yeah.
because we did trimesters in junior high instead of semesters, or quarters. I can't remember, dude. I played guitar for like what 2 3 months out of the year.
Yeah.
As I was getting the calluses, as I was finally learning like rhythm and like actually how to strum and stuff, these classes changed. No more music class. So after that, I lost all ability. But like, see, the thing is, you could still get after it and probably still not be as good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, even drums. Even the guy from what's that band? He had one arm and he's probably better than all the drummers that we know of today.
Oh,
Def
Def
Leppard.
Leppard.
That's what
Yep.
it is.
Yep. Def Leppard.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So the interesting thing about frequency when it comes to training, I think specifically we'll focus more on strength training, but a lot of these principles do apply for like bodybuilding or like hypertrophy training. So whenever possible, I'll try to make sure that like I make it clear what I'm talking about specifically. So James Hoffman put out a pretty good review a while back, but I believe like the conclusion of I believe it was a meta-analysis of different papers that looked at training frequency. So let's say like it was like a leg extension like 2 times a week versus leg extension like 4 times a week, and it was just like a bunch of studies along those lines. And what he found was there's like quite significant diminishing returns after 2 times per week. So 2 times per week is kind of that sweet spot, which like a lot of like quote unquote bros maybe have known for a
and
long time.
And 2 times per week, what are you talking about? Can you explain a little bit more on that?
Yeah, so a particular movement pattern. So when it comes to strength specifically, let's focus in on like
Squats.
bench and squats. So for me, I would say decent progress when I bench twice a week. I actually get a little better progress when I bench 3 times per week. So I'm actually going to switch from my current protocol, which is like 2 times per week, back to 3 times per week. But for a movement pattern like a squat, for example, because of the the additional muscle groups that are recruits, 3 times a week was like pushing it for me. And there's ways that you can still fit it in that that aspect or that frame. Excuse me. But for me, in particular, that was like too much. And then I'd say deadlift is another one of those movement patterns that is like extremely difficult to do more than like once a week, unless you're very, 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 very particular with your sets. So for example, you would work up to like one heavy set where you still leave a couple reps in the tank if you're looking to do like, three or more deadlift sessions in a week. So usually that's not advisable unless you're at like a very, very like highly advanced level and you understand like your recovery debt like pretty well. How like deep you go into like recovery and how much rest you need to like overcome that.
Yeah, and also too with like deadlifts, there's only been a couple of times in like my training career that I've actually deadlifted twice in like a week. But see, the thing is, like Roman was saying, like I'm glad you said it. Like the sets were very thought out. Like the number of sets, the number of reps throughout the week, every week. If I was doing it twice a week, and yeah, after like doing that, I didn't really see too much benefit of it, and also it took too long, especially like when you work full time and you're not training like full time and that's not like your job. Loading the bar, taking it off, prepping, warming up. Like, like me, like powerlifting is like one of the main goals in my training, but like no one wants to sit there and load 315 plus like every time, warm up to that, and then like do it, chalk up, put a belt on, and then after doing that, you're like, well, I don't want to do I don't want to train anymore. So it's like sometimes the motivation goes down when you like give it your all on a deadlift. So but go on what you were saying.
Yeah. So 2 times per week would be any particular movement pattern, any particular like lift. So like same thing with pull-ups. Pull-ups I think is actually one of those like interesting cases because both like for myself and then also my partner Laura, whenever we do pull-ups, I notice like a significant drop off in our work capacity. So that actually could be something that we focus on more, is like increasing our work capacity, meaning trying to get our per set drop of repetitions closer to one another. Usually with pull-ups, I'll go anywhere between like 0 to 1 reps in reserve. I always go pretty close to failure on pull-ups, just because it's such like a, pull-ups can be fatiguing, but they're not super duper fatiguing. I can recover from them pretty quickly. Usually if I do like 3 or 4 good sets of pull-ups, I can hit them again like in 2 or 3 days, no problem. Like I might only have like 1 day of soreness, if that at all. But I've maybe done like 100,000 pull-ups in my life. I've done a lot of pull-ups. Not to say that like I'm exceptional at doing pull-ups. Like I think my PR for like regular grip pull-ups, not chin-ups, it's like 16 reps. So it's nothing crazy. There's people that can do a whole lot more than that.
When he said regular grip, he means pronated neutral grip. But he was just being lazy right there.
Yeah, pronated grip. Yeah, pronated grip. Not neutral. Because I've been working on neutral grip.
Oh yeah.
Neutral. I got up to 13 in this past cycle. But they weren't like super strict, I would say. They weren't like terrible, but I allowed like a little bit of bounce, like not like a didn't allow like the arms to really like come to a full hang at the bottom. It was more like boom, 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 boom. Anywho.
Yeah. And so, and also too, since we're talking about like strength, Roman, I want you to chime in on this too as well. Since, everyone knows that like I've been doing full body, as well as like concentrating on the big three. Like typically for someone like me, I do concentrate on like the overhead press a lot. So someone like me, I most like Roman says he benches like 2 to 3 times a week most of the time. Sometimes, most of the time, like I only bench like 1 time a week because of the overhead pressing I do. So I do typically get like a lot of soreness in my shoulders, like if I throw in another bench session. But sometimes out of the ordinary, like I will be going into like cycles where I do bench twice a week. I just won't do so much of overhead training.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So that's really smart that you do that. So you recognize that it's kind of either or for you. If you want to increase your overhead press, well, you need to focus on that more than bench, which means that you have to decrease your overall set count for bench and dedicate more of your like sets for those like prime movers, meaning like front delt, like chest and triceps towards the overhead press. Obviously you have like stabilizing muscles of like the scapula and like the upper back, which are involved, and like overhead press is a full body movement. Like I squeeze my glutes when I like, yeah, okay, we know that, but those are like those are the prime muscles that like are going to get sore from that movement. So no, that's exactly it. That's a good point. So when you're from like a programmatic standpoint, when you're training like increasing frequency, let's say for example, those are factors that you're going to have to take into account. And don't worry if like you overshoot a little bit, like you'll get to like what Mike Rizzotello calls like your MRV pretty quick. You'll have to find out, you'll have to deload, and then hopefully you'll learn from that, like, okay, I maybe did too much too fast. Like for example, like same thing that Antoine was saying, I've actually like I haven't been doing overhead press recently because when I dedicate even just like one like overhead press, like barbell overhead press session, it might trash a bench session. So I would have to I found that I get similar results, meaning like strength development as well as like perceived hypertrophy when I do seated dumbbell overhead press. So that was a good alternative for me and was less fatiguing. So I'd have more of like less like recovery debt is what I've been calling it recently. So it wouldn't take as long for those muscle groups like my chest and like my shoulders to like feel like they're ready to go, like they were healed, like they weren't sore to the touch. So I could bench again. And that's what's allowed me to move up to like 3 somewhat semi-heavy bench sessions. I'll usually do like, knowing me, the way I should do it is light, moderate, heavy, but the way I do it is like moderate, heavy, or or like moderate, heavy. But I will definitely throw in like a slightly easier session in there. But with bench, I tend to go pretty close to failure just because I love to bench so much, and I like pushing myself. I'm the kind of person I really like train to failure, although I recognize that you don't always have to train to failure. I think it's actually counterproductive at times, depending on like whatever the goal is. So yeah, no, that's a really astute observation.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like, it's not like I'm not saying people can't handle that, but like, like maybe to test it out, maybe do like, say if you do barbell overhead press and like dumbbell overhead press, and then like, during that week you do 2 bench sessions, you do, either regular flat bench and dumbbell flat bench, or you do both barbell benches. See how your shoulders feel, see how like your triceps feel, see how like your overall like fatigue is, because like me, I recognized it a long time ago, and like like I realized that there's a lot of front shoulder work, that like frontal shoulder work we do already. So like and I'm talking like the bone structure, the joints, like I'm talking about like that. And like when I realized like it probably is not necessary to do all that volume. It turns into that inconsistent junk volume, what like Roma was talking about, like where it could be diminishing returns. Then like I realized that. So there like we say a lot, there's going to be a lot of trial and error when doing frequency and like learning your frequency with like certain lifts, certain movements. Um, and also with the trial and error, it's like, like I just said about the overhead press and benching, like try it out first and see how it is and see how you feel. And then kind of recognize that first. Maybe test it like, at least 4 weeks and see if like gains got, increased. Like say if you're trying to push reps, push, load and resistance, then try doing both. Like there's nothing that's gonna hurt that. As long as you're safe and obviously you don't injure yourself. Like don't push it too hard to the limits. Like kind of back off if needed.
Yeah, absolutely. And like it's a very a movement specific too. So pull-ups, for example, I remember when we were back in the office, we kind of talked about a couple of different examples, and like pull-ups is actually, I think, a great example of this. But if you reduce the overall set count, let's say you realize that you can do upwards of 12 sets a week for pull-ups. So the question is, do you do 12 in one session? Do you do 6 in 2 sessions? Do you do 4 in 3 sessions? Or do you 4 in 3 sessions, or do you do 4 in 3 and 4 sessions? Geez, I don't know why that was so hard for me. And then we could obviously say like in 6 sessions we could do 2. But let's just like stick with those 4 examples. I would say that like I would gravitate on a movement like pull-ups if that was a goal of yours to increase it. If you can, like let's say you're only doing it once a week, go to 2 times a week. Don't go to 4 times a week. That is like absolutely ridiculous. Because like your overall volume is going to be significantly like greater, and you might overshoot like what your recovery is. So just go through the process, take the time. This is a lifelong pursuit. So learn to love it. So we don't go from 1 session a week to 4 sessions a week. We don't go from 1 session a week to 3 times a week. We go from 1 session a week to 2 times a week. And like if you're like want to be really anal about it, you can be from like 1 session a week to 1.5 sessions a week for pull-ups in particular. So let's stay on this like pull-up trend. So let's say you find that you do like 10 repetitions on your first set, then 6 repetitions on your second set, then you do 4 repetitions on your third set, and then if you do a 4th set, it's 3, 3, 2, let's say. So you're decreasing in the overall reps that you can do. You're staying at about 0 to 1 reps in reserve. So the question is, if you're able to go from 2 sessions to 3 sessions, what would that look like? Well, you'd be getting in that 10, 6, 4, 10, 6, 4, 10, 6, 4, and your volume, your per weekly volume would actually be significantly higher. So you'd be doing more pull-ups during the week. And you'd find the same thing if you move, or so it'd be 10, 6, 4, 3, I think, or we said 10, 6, 4, 4. Do the math.
Yeah.
I don't have.
You're close. You're close. Yeah.
But Antoine and I did the math, and it was something along the lines of like 15 to 25% more a week that you could add in just by changing the frequency. So that's huge. So it's important to be cognizant of that volume, because now you're going to have increase in volume, but because you're also like essentially working on like work capacity in that instance, that could be another benefit. So like for a CrossFit athlete, that might be something to take notice of. And then that principle, I believe, can be extrapolated for other movement patterns. Let's say another movement that you want to get sufficient in or proficient in are push-ups. So same situation where you see this like significant drop off per set, especially when you get into your ladder sets. Well, why don't you table those ladder sets and then move that into another session, and then see like what your growth in either the strength, or if you have got like aesthetic or like muscular like building goals, then like what the difference in that is. That would be a key strategy I'd try.
Yeah, and that's why, I'm telling you guys, like that's why I'm loving this like full body like split. Because like, if I wanted to, like say if I want to be proficient in pull-ups, like I could do it like, I work out 5 days a week. I could do it on the first and the last or first and the third workout. And if I wanted to grow that frequency, maybe the first, third, and maybe the fourth or fifth, depending on the other movements I'm doing in the 5 days. Like, say if I need to do squat or deadlift, and like maybe deadlifts, like, take a lot out of my back and my pull ups. So, like, you kind of have to figure that out. And like, even if you have to take a set away and then like add a day, like, let's just say you do, like Roman said, like the 3 or 4 sets to one day, like maybe if you took off the one set to get better like sets and reps together and for like more like actual intensity, then you add the other day and start off with 2 sets. Then if you see you're getting 10 6 and 4, and then the second day you do 10 6, and then you add a third set, you do 10 6 and 4, you're like, wow, I'm doing this, I'm doubling it already with the frequency. And then like, you could either, and then like obviously you'd start at like 2 sets or 3 sets, and then kind of like aim for a lower rep range depending on, but like Roman said, like some lifts, like you want to like go to failure, you're going to grow a little bit more. And a lot of people have noticed that like going to failure on such a lift like or movement like pull-ups, if you want to do that twice a week and you're like still recovering, you could still do your lat pull downs, your rows, your deadlifts, everything that you had to do with any pulling motion, then you're working in that good right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. So like a couple things to recognize. Make sure you remember compound lifts are always going to be more fatiguing than single joint lifts. So when we're talking about a squat, when we're talking about a leg press, a hack squat, that's going to be much more fatiguing than a leg extension, a ham curl, or like a calf raise or something along those lines. It's not that those aren't fatiguing in their own right. Just single joint movements typically are not going to be as fatiguing as compound movements. And
plus you brought up like earlier, like we were going to talk about strength stuff, but like, if you wanted to like throw in like a extra thing, sets of bicep curls throughout the week because you love doing them, you think that's cool, and you're powerlifting, and it doesn't affect like the big three or anything above, like throw it in there, see how you feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, for sure. I wouldn't expect this to be like a panacea, but it can make like some differences in your progress, both strength wise as well as like hypertrophy wise.
Did you just say panacea?
Yeah.
Okay. Please explain further.
It's not like, paradise. It's not like, the silver bullet or anything like that. It's
Are we vampires now?
Yeah. It's a tool in the toolbox.
It's a tool in the toolbox.
It's a tool in the toolbox. Hey, Tim, the toolman here, talking about my toolbox.
Talking on the toolbox.
So like anytime you're going above like 2 times a week, like you're probably not going to see a huge increase from 2 to 3, but like you might see a substantial increase. I've seen it on bench. So what am I doing? Like I'm stalling a little bit on bench, so I'm going to increase the 3 times a week and see if that helps to like get me back to like the gain strain.
And also too, don't you wish you were like a newbie and you could start like fresh and just do like bench, squat, and deadlift like once a week, and then like slowly put in another one and you get so much damn gains?
Well, since I've been getting back, like I still have had like per like meso like PRs with like pause squats and stuff like that. So I was like kind of planning it out that way, but like with bench, it just like was not going anymore. Like I was like, oh, I should hit like 185 by 7. Like this is something I've hit like just a few months ago. Like this is nothing for me. Boom. Yeah. And like I get to like 4 reps and I was like, I'm going to rack it because I don't have a spot. And I'm like, well, looks like I'm not hitting 7 today. So, I mean, things don't always go to plan. So that's why it's important. That's why we advocate keeping a log, folks, even if it's on your phone. but something to look back to, so that you like can start to create your own methodology for what works for you, or like so that you can track others' methodologies that have worked for you, and you can continue to utilize that as is necessary, or when you believe it'll like come to benefit for you.
Dang, Roman, thanks for all that information. When's your ebook coming out, buddy?
Hopefully soon. I've actually been meaning to write like a beginner's training like guidebook. I think that would be like really helpful for all like our Gainz podcasters out there.
Dude,
I
it's
just need
okay.
to sit down and do it.
It's okay. Don't tell them all our secrets yet. We have a lot more to come. Like, yeah, you guys didn't get your surprise on this episode. Will you get it next time? We don't know. But why not just wait and to see how the Roman and Antoine Gainz train journey begins, ends, and continues to grow. We're throwing coal on that baby every week.
Clean
So
coal.
clean coal, save the environment. But like honestly, guys, we always thank you for listening. We appreciate you for joining. I've been posting more on the Gainz podcast. I know I haven't been posting. A lot of SHIT has been going on in the world and in life. Also, more to come on that too, Roman, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Roman knows, but no one really knows. But guys, don't worry about it, guys. We'll keep you updated as always. You'll see Roman and I post more on the Gainz podcast. Follow us on Instagram. Like, comment, subscribe on the video. When you go on the video, go to Roman's YouTube page. It's in the description. It's on either the audio and the video. So there's no excuses, guys. Take 2 seconds of your time, please, to go on YouTube, go on Roman's page, hit the subscribe. You don't even need to watch the videos. We just need to get them to 100 subscribers. We need to get that link, but Roman's gonna be posting more videos as soon as he gets some free time, because a lot of stuff is going on with him as well. But we got every platform. You can listen to us, watch us. Everything is in the description in the show notes, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you on that next episode. Peace.